I finished up at the barn, and I thought, it's 12:30. What I'll do is I'll go get a quick bite to eat, go home, and maybe have a nap, shower, and head to Miami Valley. I didn't get any of that done. I was answering emails, a couple of phone calls, and then Country Dancing's race comes up, and she breaks a hobble. She didn't necessarily race bad because she broke a hobble, but she broke a hobble nonetheless. And she's not going to be effective. 53-3 they went. And although she was a winner in 53 last year, that was after we got her going as a 2-year-old. She's just starting right now, and she got a little rickety behind the gate. Looked like she was going to pace out of there good. Yeah, I wish the hobble had broke in front of the grandstand. We would have at least got to see her go through the first turn. We didn't get to do that, but at the end of the day, she's not going to make the final. And if she does, I'm looking at Anna Loves Bananas, 1-5, 53-3. No thanks. I think we're just going to send her back to Ontario where she can race. The problem is that her and Foxy Seaside fit the same class, and they weren't going to get in every week. Well, we fixed that. Foxy bled the other day and is going to go on Lasix and get a few weeks off. So, Country Dancing go back home. I don't really see it as a step backward or a waste of money shipping her over here. She had a series. It didn't work out. She's going back to where we had her to begin with, where it looked like she raced great her first start. And we're going to get her back on track in that regard. I already know that she can get over the Meadows, because I watched her do it last year. I think she's one of those horses where there's a thin line between really good and so-so, and so-so just isn't going to cut it. So we have to get her back going forward, get her confidence up, and then when she does come back to Pennsylvania, we need to keep her at 102%, because anything less than 100, she doesn't look that good. So we'll talk about her later on. We got 4 more horses to race. I'm on my way to race one right now in Spitfire Overseas. Got a little bite to eat, heading down the road. And I want to reflect on this morning also. Now, this is also Wednesday. Good news is I don't get there until 5:49, which is 2 hours and 10 minutes from now. So lots of time to talk about what went on today. I told you guys, unfortunately, we had some scratches today. A couple of late ones were frustrating. We had 2 horses castrated yesterday. They were out today. That's Had to Know. And Captain Doolittle. I had somebody message me today saying, Anthony, geez, I'd rather not castrate Captain Doolittle. I said, well, first off, that ship sailed. Secondly, I don't really think Captain Corey, although he's decently bred, stands off a little bit and is somewhere around the middle of the pack right now. I'm not really in a big hurry to keep him a stud when he's noisy in the barn. I didn't realize he was stud still, to be quite frank. So he would have been, had I been paying closer attention to it, he would have probably been castrated in January. Nevertheless, he got done, and so did Had to Know. They needed done. We had some horses with that had popped a couple of quarter cracks. Got to the bottom of the likely quarter crack issue. It's just the bitter winter that we had. It was a very challenging winter for everybody. They got snow in Florida at one point, and then torrential rains, and it would freeze right away, and the track would get frozen, and they would have to put this calcium salt water on the track. It would dry out the heels, dry out the feet. I couldn't understand. People that I knew were very good caretakers. Amy had 2 or 3 horses with bad heels for a couple of weeks that we were really working on, and she was getting extremely frustrated with it, and the problem was it's coming from the track. So it's not the track's fault. You have to do what you have to do to get the track in racing condition. But as I said, just a bitter, challenging winter really forced everybody's hand. So that's where it's coming from. We're going to work hard over the next few weeks to recognize which horses in the barn. All of them maybe are vulnerable to some foot issues, and we're going to continue to chop away at that, get that cleaned up, make sure it goes away as quick as it came. In the meantime, we had 3 or 4 horses this morning that had some foot issues. Now, Neuromancer's foot issue was he had jumped on his foot 2 weeks ago, and there was a little surface infection that was bothering him. It was really pesky, and it was hard to get on top of. And Amy had said, he's not 100%. I said, you know what, honey? I'd like to know what he feels about that. She goes, what do you mean? I'm going to go with him today. I want to see him. I know he's not 100%, but I want to see how he behaves. Tell a lot about a horse that's maybe not at 100%, what kind of effort they put out. And I'll tell you what, Neuromancer, as much respect as I had for him before the training mile, I might even have more for him now after the training mile. That horse did everything he could, and I had to really wrestle with him to let Jason go by, because he just felt like he was really close to tipping over. And as you saw, we went into the turn, I was running in a bit, Jason was kind of close to me, and Amy was right against the pylons with Sterling Hanover. I really gave her no room. Again, after the mile, and what they call the run out, right? After the training set was over, I made a break, she made a break. But in the mile, if you watch, theoretically the post parade, when we first go on the track and jog around, you go back and watch that raw video, you can see that Neuromancer is not 100%. That left front, he is favoring it a little bit today. Just wanted to see where his work ethic was. I'll tell you what, he takes his job very, very seriously, this horse, and I was really impressed with him. Royal Duchess also today had a pesky foot that was bothering her. She went out and did her work. Now Jason said, I had to help her a little bit. I said, well, God love her, she never stopped trying. He said, she trotted all day long. He said, she bothers you sometimes, he said, but you got to respect a horse that does that. And I do, a lot. And Cherry's Girl had one left hind also. Hers was a little more fresh than the other two. Still went out and did her work great. I went back and watched the video of Cherry's Girl, because I talked to Tyler after. I said, how was she? He said, she's getting really good. He said, I was really happy with her today. Good. He said, she got a quarter crack left hind. He goes, really? I said, it's bleeding right there. A little bit of blood coming out, a little trickle of blood. So we'll get to the bottom. They won't train Saturday, those horses, obviously. Today it wasn't as much about training them. I just wanted to get, we talk about that eye of the tiger. We joke about it sometimes. We talk about, the horses wanting to put an honest effort in. It's really hard to gauge that. It's hard to find that, right? Today was one of those rare days where we got to see how bad 3 horses wanted it, how they approached their work, and their work ethic was spot on. I was really impressed with those horses today. We did have a little bit of a virus going through the barn. Sterling Hanover was out the track jogging around, shied away, ripped his shoe off, clipped his foot a little bit. His foot's fine. He could have went, I suppose. My partners at Marco had messaged me after and said, hey, can he go in a later set? I know you guys want to see him, but it just seemed to me he jogged around for 2.5 miles. He didn't do anything wrong. He just made a mistake, and I didn't want to put it into a situation where he was being penalized for something that wasn't his fault. So we gave him the day off, bandaged his foot up, put him away properly, a little animal intex, and if he's feeling up to it and he's feeling good tomorrow, I'll blow him out a little bit, my own 35 or 40, just to see how he feels. But I wasn't worried about it. I know it sucks when you guys aren't on site and you can't see what's going on. And I know that Marco and I'm sure all my partners wanted to see Sterling go today, but it just wasn't necessary. 2 very, very different things when it came to the other horses with those minor quarter cracks, and then a horse that had just kind of jumped on his foot. So I just hit the brakes and gave the rest of the day off. There were some horses that were a little flat today. They had no temps, no mucus, no coughing. Ate all their breakfast, but had a little bit of swelling in their hind legs. You'll see this from time to time. A virus will go through the barn. There was Perfection Hanover at the other end. This is totally different from what happened to him at Christmas time. Totally different. And then we had Perfect Thought at the other end of the shed row. Also had that going on this morning. And both of them, oddly enough, were every bit similar in being a little bit flat. Millie Girl also had a little swelling in her hind legs. She trained awesome though, and ate all her lunch and seemed really, really good. So I guess it's one of those situations where you just don't know, right? So we'll start with the first set. Perfection Hanover, as I said, a little bit flat today, but he went out and did his work. Supermind was very good. Cherry's Girl worked really hard. Now I felt bad. You see a new name on the board here, Johnny Sioka. Drives at Northfield from time to time. Just a kid trying to get his foot in the door. Seems like he does a good job, and he was looking for a a job working with the babies, riding the babies on training day and helping out in the barn. And I said, yeah, geez, no problem at all. Hate potholes. Yeah, no problem at all. He comes in from time to time. A lot of the guys do. Now, Joey Cramp left us. Joey has his own barn now. He was getting really busy. It's very hard to work for somebody else and do almost a stable of your own. That's impossible to do. It takes a lot of hard work. And, Joey's one of those kids that was raised the right way. Joe did a great job with him. Perfect gentleman. Just a really nice guy. The type of guy where if you have a problem with Joey, you probably have a problem with humanity. Because he's just a nice guy. And we're cheering for him. We always do. And I'll continue to cheer for him. He's a really, really nice guy and deserves to have lots of luck, and I hope he does. So Joey left with us to focus on his own barn in Northfield Park, which he has already. John, Johnny, is going to step in from time to time. Tyler helps us out a little bit also. So it's nice to have those guys on site also. Just to get a feel for the horses, see if fresh set of eyes never hurts. And with Rico Tubbs today, Johnny, he didn't want to step on any toes. He didn't want to make any mistakes. He didn't want to do anything wrong. And he just kind of sat there with Rico at last. And I said to him after, I said, hey, maybe I should have came and talked to you, but I just don't want you sitting last. I want the horses moving. The whole point of having sets is to simulate a race. And none of these horses are going to be sitting last. Okay, I can tell you that. So just get out and move the horses. And if you don't know about a horse, which obviously you don't know about any of them, just ask me. I should have given him the heads up and said, hey, move Rico to the front early, and then other horses will come and cover him up, and then you finish up with them, or beat them, whatever. But don't sit last. And so that was my fault. Rose Run Bobby, a couple moves out of her. She was really good. I like how she's starting to behave and listen and understand. When Eric came down the backstretch wide open, cleared to the front, he cleared to the front down the backstretch, and you could see her start to get a little tentative, like she wanted to race with the horse, but then I just kind of seesawed her a little bit, and she came right back to me, and then sat there and sprinted on down the lane. I thought she trained really well, and I thought her mile was really well. Now you're going to see her confidence start to grow and grow and grow, and she's going to end up getting back to where we saw her before. What you saw before was just raw speed Bobby. You're going to see a little smarter Bobby moving forward, and it's going to be a real treat to see, I think, once she completely arrives. Royal Duchess, as I said, happy with her training mile today. Just overcoming a bit of a corner crack, a bit of a foot issue that was pesky, problematic, and bothering her a little bit, but very pleased with the way she went about it. Very happy, and Jason was happy too for her. Now, one of the biggest improvements for the last little while was Love Sensation. Even Eric said pulling up, he goes, come a long, long way in a short period of time, this filly. I said, aren't you right? He said, man, she looked good. First over and dummied everybody, looked really, really good doing it. An impressive mile from an impressive filly, quite frankly. We went up the second set. So first set, I was happy with everybody. The only flat miles were Perfection, a little bit stocked up behind, no big deal. Rico Tubbs got away last and just kind of sat there in limbo. And Royal Duchess again with that little corner crack. But for the most part, the entire set was good. Second set, bit of a kerfuffle. Aunt Sarah was getting a little sharp, a little grabby on Amy, and ended up making a break starting into the backstretch. And I went to give her room to get her out of the hole because she was getting a little grabby. So I just said, I'm just going to come with Megan now. I went to move Megan over, and I started to advance. Amy made a break, and I'm watching her. And then Jason makes a break and kind of sits it there in the middle a little bit. Now, I wanted to advance with Megan and get her back down to the rail quick before we get into the last turn. She got an open bridle on. I don't want her 3 wide in the last turn. You're inviting all sorts of trouble when you're doing that. You're 3 wide in the last turn with a baby with an open bridle on. Nothing really good can come from that. Only the most focused horses would just dismiss that and trot forward, and she didn't. She got into the last turn, she didn't really know what to do. She's out in the middle of the track, she looked right, and then she knew not to do it, and then she rolled off. Wasn't really what I was looking for from Megan today, and I'm not going to blame anybody. It's not Jason's fault, it's not Amy's fault, it's not even Megan's fault. I put her in a stupid position, and she did something stupid, so my fault. So Blue Rare again, she was just on idle, and she's close to being the new queen of the castle. She was very, very, very good for the last little while and was exceptionally good today. Again, Eric said she's just what a nice horse. J. Votag looked good today. Right? Happy to see her starting to come forward. I don't know that she's a killer, right? She's not really in her top 5 even of the trotting fillies, but useful horse, yes. I don't see why she isn't. I love the fact that I worked her hard and she came back better and stronger for it. I love that about her. So I'm happy with her in that regard. Megan's lucky day. I don't want to talk about it anymore. That was my doing, my fault. He's a Fearless Peter was good. Capistrano Knights finished up really, really well also. And then the 2 breakers on Sarah. Now, Uncle Danny, Jason and I were talking quite a bit after. So there's some horses you guys know that we treat a lot of horses with Baycocks, TD paste, Titazerol, Diclazerol, paste for EPM. A lot of the time, I don't love it because it's that catch-all, right? You know, the horse made a break, or the horse is a little rough or a little pacey, or Baycocks and Baycocks and Baycocks. So I don't love it, but at the same time, I'm of the belief if we treat 10 or even we treat 20, and 1, 2, 3 of them are much better because of it, job well done. With side effects very, very minimal to none on the paste itself, and by very minimal I mean none. I don't know of any. I've never heard of any. I certainly haven't seen any. Uncle Danny does exhibit the signs of EPM a little bit. And listen, take that for what it's worth. There are hundreds of horses probably stabled at Northfield Park alone that fit the same criteria. One of the signs that we always look for as horse people is a very loose tail. So if you can take that tail and bend it up somewhat, pick it right up, no problem, and there's no tension. More times than not, if you go to pick a horse's tail up, they're going to fight with you a little bit, right? Well, when there's zero fight, you always kind of look at it and say, well, where there's smoke, there's fire. It's definitely a symptom of BPM. And when you have a horse that just crushed everybody the other day, then comes out today, makes a break in the straightaway, and then almost makes a break down to the wire, I think Jason said again, for no particular reason in the middle of the straightaway. Well, what's up with that? Looked at his records. He was Baycocks last month. There's not been Baycocks yet this month. We're going on 5 weeks. That's maybe a week too long. Oddly enough, he wasn't as good today. So we Baycocksed him after he trained today, or TD paced him, Dr. Latessa did. And on Sarah, I think getting a little rambunctious, a little wound up, a little excitable. She's starting to feel herself. She's been awesome training the last 3 training trips. Tyler said she was very good on Saturday, maybe too good on Saturday, because she was pretty sharp today on Amy, and just when Amy was about to move her, she just made a little bit of a break, and Amy did the right thing. Rather than risk her making a break and coming to the outside and interfering with me or anybody else, she just went left. That's why that lane is there. So she just went left and played it safe. But Aunt Sarah is not usually what you would call a breaker. So Amy thought she was a little anxious, a little wound up, and then when I started to creep up alongside of her, starting into the backstretch, she just got a little wound and lost herself and made a break. But no lameness issues that I saw, and no issues at all from Aunt Sarah up until today when she made a very rare break. So Blue Rare, awesome. Joe J. Fotag was good. Megan's lucky day, that was my fault. He's a Fearless Peter was good. Capistrano Knights was sneaky good also, very, very good. And 2 odd breaks from Aunt Sarah and Uncle Danny. Third set, Jailbird Jog is a powerhouse, but she is at a place now where it's just raw talent, right? She was sitting in the hole, but she was just itching to wreck something, it felt like, right? She just, lots and lots, like I had a death grip on her in the last turn. She felt like she just wanted to come a corner about 29 seconds. And I was swinging on her coming out of the turn, and Emerald Tom came like a flash on the end of it. I don't know if he could outbeat me or not, who cares? Both horses were awesome. Jolene Hall was good too. Jason was a little angry. If you watch the first part of the mile, I had her right up on top of Jason. And a couple of times when they slowed down in front of me, Jailbird Jog got right up on top of Jason and actually just missed trotting over him the one time. And I think Jason said, "Nah, that's enough of that." And he moved Jolene Hall to the front. He said, "Yeah, she was pulling up a little bit in the front end. Once you got to her, she was game. She was going to trot back on, and she was right there at the wire." So Jailbird Jog, I had a big hold on. Amy was flying on the outside. Jason's horse was coming back on. In New York, Tyler said, I thought I had his hobbles tight enough. I think, honestly, maybe a hole too long. He just needs the help. He enjoys the help. We're coming to a point where we're going to switch his shoes back around. He's had aluminum shoes on behind for 2 shoeings. That's enough of that. We're going to go back to a half-round, half swedge with him for just a little bit. Just a little bit. And I like what he has on up front. You just do need to have his hobbles where they help him, right? If they're not a little tight, they're just not helping him right now. He wants to be a good horse. We just got to help him do that. And I think Tyler was right in saying that. Leland Hanover, we scratched. Said, as I said, he jumped on his foot, ripped his shoe off. And then ACDC was also very good in the mile too. Didn't talk about him enough also. A lot of people saying, how are the splints? Did you get them crowd? Saturday. I wanted to do it at a time when it wouldn't impact negatively our training that much. If we get them all crowd up on Saturday, they get Sunday off, and everybody seems okay on Monday, Tuesday, by next Wednesday we should be able to train again, and they shouldn't even miss a training set if we're lucky. There's going to be some that the crowd marks blow up a little bit, where they blow up a little bit, and they inevitably will miss next Wednesday's training. But I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to get their training in this week and crowd them thereafter. I guess we could have crowd Thursday. If they were calling for rain on Saturday, I would have just crowd them all on Thursday and be done with it. Just say we'll give them all Saturday off. We'll start back fresh next Wednesday. But that's not the case. So Saturday afternoon it is. I can go through right now who is splints and needs a crowd. I don't think Supermind has one, but we have to go over him again. Rose Run Bobby does. Royal Duchess has one also, I believe. Megan's Lucky Day does for sure. He's a Fearless Peter, may have one also. I don't think in New York does, but we're going to look at him close again. ACDC most definitely does. Royal Flush Dio, I believe, does also. Steady Volo may have a small splint also. Actually, I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that one. Captain Doolittle does. He's got a big weight castration and splints crowd. My goodness. Captain Doolittle does. Degas most definitely does. Want to double check, head to know, and don't ask again. There's a good 6 to 10 horses that have to have splints crowd, and that'll all take place on Saturday. So that was set number 3. Happy with them. We went out with set 4. Royal Flush Deal, you guys noticed, if you watch in front of the stands, first time he knuckles over bad, and then he did knuckle over in the last turn again. I was happy with the way he was trotting. But the knuckling over is a problem, and I'll tell you why it's a problem. You would think, it could be EPM, and you're going to treat him. It's always the right hind, though. So Dr. Tessie never comes up. He comes up a little sore after he does it because I think sometimes he just touches himself. But the right hind only just could be a little weakness in that stifle. It just needs a little bit of work. We will actually still Baycox him quite a bit. Dr. Tessa may want to do a little vet work on that right hind stifle. We'll watch that, see if it helps. His spirits were up today. His work ethic was great. I love the way he was trotting. I just a little concerned. And again, get those aluminums off from behind. We've had them on 2 shoeings. Before you say, well, it just might be the aluminums, he's always knuckled over behind, and especially on his right hind. Much less now, which leads me to believe that it is just an immaturity thing, but nevertheless, it has to be addressed immediately. Tomboy Strong, closing on the outside good again. Highest Honors looked very good today. You're going to see him go into the Pacers now. We'll probably take Swaney out and put her in with this kind of crew and move Highest Honors up into the pace. He looked very good today. Go Strong, Hanover looked great again. And Steady Volo was good. I know Jason put him in gear to clear off the lead for me. And then I moved out of the 2-hole just to tell him, hey, just sit, let everybody catch up. And when I got to him, we were just sitting and sitting. I made a break. And then Highest Honors came charging late and picked him off. And Go Strong Hanover did also in the middle. So a great set of horses there, as I said. I'm not overly concerned with Royal Flush Dio. He was actually better than I thought. I can see exactly why he made a break, and we'll be addressing that immediately. I'd love nothing more than to not have it happen again, but we have to start somewhere. So knuckled over and made a break today, and other than that, I was very happy with him and everybody else in this set. The Pacers were awesome. I told you, Perfect Thought, a little bit under the weather today, I think. That was evident in her training. I thought Sweet Lake did her work very well, very good. But top dog today, Diosa Della Danza. She looked very good today. Came first over, and I told him same thing, Jason, when he got to my throat latch on the backstretch today. Just sit. You got to make sure everybody is ready to go here as we turn for home. We really did sprint the last 8. Diosa Della Danza sprinted right by me. Sweet Lake went with her. Millie girl, who wasn't 100%, was a little bit under the weather, was charging also on the outside. My name is Swaney, was right there in perfect thought. A great set of pacers. We paced our last half in 1:13. I was really, really happy with what I saw from that crew. And then we get into the 6th set. We had 2 scratches. 1 Head to Know, and 2 Captain Doolittle. Degas, we had a little weight to her up front, put a head pull of Murphy on the inside. Eric said she was much, much better today. But I think the story, from my standpoint, the story was Neuromancer and how professional he went about his work today. I was really happy to see that. Sterling Hanover was good, but Judy's Money, first day with the hobbles on. You may have noticed we put the hobbles on her. Today was the first day she ever felt them on her legs. I went with her the other day, and I thought she was just folding over for no reason, not doing her work. Just had to get through a hurdle that was kind of stuck in her way. And I said to Jason, just put some hobbles on her. And he goes, she usually trots good. I said, well, that shouldn't be a problem for her at all. And it wasn't. She got up and beat Neuromancer and was very, very good. Sterling Hanover down on the inside was good also. Degas was also very, very good. And Don't Ask Again, Jason said, you know what? This filly is getting better every week, especially since we get the corks off her. So I was happy to hear that also. So it was far from a perfect day today. You know, a number of horses that were flat. I'm not going to touch on those very much, but I am going to touch on some of the horses that were very good, in my mind anyway. The first set, Supermind, Rose Run, Bobby, Love Sensation was exceptionally good today, but those 3 were good in set 1. Set 2, Blue Rare continues to be a bit of a freak of nature, and Capistrano Nights was very good also. Third set, Emerald Tom, Jailbird Jog, and Jolene Hall were all very, very good. Fourth set, Go Strong, Hanover, and Highest Honors were good. I'm not going to mention Steady Volo because I expect him to be good. He was good also, but Highest Honors and Go Strong, Hanover were very, very good today. The Pacers, all 5 of those Pacers did their work very well today. And in the last set, as I said, Neuromancer, Judy's Money, Sterling Hanover, really, really impressed with those 3 horses in particular. Those are your babies. When I catch a breath, finish my drink, I'm going to go through a little Wednesday update top to bottom in the stable for you. I'm going to load this right now. You can look at it later on. I will talk to you all very soon. Take care.